Hello students, this is the scroll saw. The scroll saw is going to have two primary purposes in our class. Number one is to create cuts like this, where you have to drill a hole in the middle of a piece, and then you have to be able to insert a blade into the hole of that piece and then cut the interior of something without having to cut through an edge or through the side or anything. So this is actually the template for the salt and pepper shaker. There will be a time on the top of a speaker box where you'll have to do a similar thing. Okay? So this is one reason you'll use it, and another reason for something like a stool is to cut curved cuts. Because this blade is nice and thin, it allows it to not get bound up in the wood by being too wide and not being able to curve. So this blade is very small, as you can see right here. Let me get it a little closer. And you can see there's little tiny teeth right there, right? So those teeth are going to be the thing cutting your wood. And notice the teeth are pointed down. That is actually very important. Why? Because when you put this blade in here, which way are the teeth going to pull the material if the teeth were up? It's going to pull them up. Whereas if it's pointed down, it's going to pull it down. And look where we have our negative or positive resistance against the wood. This is going to hold all that weight of the material being pulled down. Let me tell you about the parts of this tool. There are many, and this is the tool that you will be doing the most adjustment on out of all the tools in the shop. So, here are some of the parts. Up on top, this red button here is the on-off switch. Right behind it, there's a dial, and this changes your speed. Okay? Obviously, lower number is less speed, and higher number is more speed. Generally speaking, I like to keep the speed quite high and have your speed that you're pushing be quite low. Okay, so speed control, on-off switch. This raises and lowers this arm just enough to create some tension on your blade once we put our blade in here. So this is your tension control knob, and you can watch this kind of raise up very slightly and back down. Up, back down. You always want to start with the tension control knob all the way at 0, okay, before you put your blade in. That way when you go to tighten up the blade, it will actually tighten instead of it being already at maximum height and it won't tighten. Okay. Next you'll see there is a knob here, and that is to either heighten or lower your hold down foot. The hold down foot's purpose is for when you're running your material through, it keeps your material from bouncing up and down. If anything gets caught or the friction is too high, it stabilizes that. Okay? Next you have a knob right here, and you'll have a corresponding knob that looks just like this underneath. These knobs tighten up against your blade. Okay? So, I'm going to show you how to put this in. And I'm going to show you right here at the top how to do it, and then I'm going to try and get a view from down below so you can see as well. I like to drop the blade in, hold it from underneath, see how it's floating in there now, and with this wide open, I get it so it's just the top of my blade is right where the pin is going to tighten, and I make sure it's pressed as far back as possible. Now I start slowly tightening that until it totally grabs it. Okay, now I can let go with both hands. Okay, so the blade's already in up here. Now down here, try and keep my fingers out of the video. Right behind that piece right here that's keeping your fingers from touching the blade, that is where you press our blade in with one hand. Okay, and here's your other tension knob. Now this was already tight, so you got to make sure it's loosened up. There, you saw my blade jump back and then tightened up again right there. Okay, so at that stage you should be able to push your blade a little bit and see if it comes out, and it does not. Okay, so now it's tight right here at the bottom and up here on the top. Notice it has that dull sound. Now we take our blade tension knob and we start moving it, but we do it while we feel the blade. Dull. Okay, that nice high pitch and the feel of it being tense, that's what you're going for. You want to see this in action? Let me cut something for you. I just drew this black curved line here. Let's say I wanted to keep this section, okay? If I want to keep this section, I would just draw an X on the section I'm not going to keep. And I want to make sure that while I cut, I always stay on this side of the line, okay? And my goal is to stay close to this line, but not too close to where I might cut through that line. This is just a practice piece, but if it was something that really mattered, if you accidentally cut through this line, you can't get the material back. But if you stay over here, you can always sand this to get it exactly to your line. So in order to do your best job possible, make sure you keep the line. That's the phrase we use for not going past the line. So watch my technique here, watch how I move my hands. The most important thing for this tool is that you don't have your fingers ever pressing right towards the blade, that you keep your fingers as frequently as possible. The rule is 2 inches away from the blade at all times. So whether it's on the left or right, behind, in front, which it shouldn't really be in front, so side, or behind, 2 inches away. Teeth are pointed down. I checked my blade tension. Everything's good. I got it set to the highest speed, and the foot is in the right spot. Okay, it's going to keep my material there. So here we go. You're going to keep your material away at first, turn it on. I'm going to have my fingers at either side here. I hope you noticed that I took it nice and slow. And you'll see a variety of different spots where there's a lot of space between the line, and then here got a little close, but I never went past. And I stayed really close along here. Now this would be very simple for me to use a spindle sander to clean this up, and I'll teach you about that later. The speed is very important that you go slow. The slower you go, the better your cut's going to be. And also, the more likely you are to not have to redo the blade, because the blade will break if you press it too hard. Okay, these blades are thin, they're meant to be so that they can turn these nice cuts. So that's the scroll saw. Make sure that you always take your pieces with you. The piece you want, as well as the scrap. You need to put the scrap in the scrap bin, or if it's too small a piece, then you can throw it in the trash. Now I'm going to just show you real quickly how cool this tool is by doing a really tight curve. Watch this real quick and you'll see that if you go slow enough, you can make this thing turn 180 degrees real fast. I mean, look at that. That's got to be the smallest little piece you ever seen cut out of a piece of wood. But that is what this is capable of. It can turn that way. You just got to be gentle. Got to be really gentle with this blade, because otherwise it will break or bend, and then it's frustrating because you have to set up a new one